Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Management 1. My name is Mr. Olusola. In our permittment class, we discuss introduction to administration. Synonymically, administration is synonymous to what we call management, and we consider various definitions of administration or management put forward by different scholars or teachers of the discipline. Then we argue that administration is very important or management is very relevant to our day-to-day life. It is not only applicable to the modern lifestyle, it is applicable to our traditional lifestyle management or administration. So it means that we eventually plan for everything and manage everything that comes our way. We manage or we plan for what we wear, how we dress, what we eat, what we drink, what we spend, how to spend, and so on and so forth. This covers management, and these are our daily activities because in every day we put on different attire, we take in different food, different liquid or drinks. Then we also think about tomorrow. This is applicable to what we refer to as management or administration. So this afternoon we'll be looking at introduction to public administration. When we talk of public administration, the word public is derived from a Latin word, publicus. So publicus simply means people. So it refers to people. And that's why when we talk of public, we are not talking about the entire environment or the space or the societal space. We simply refers to people. That is what we refer to as public. And the direct interpretation of that word is people. So, and it is originated from a Latin word. Then when we talk about public administration is applicable to public affairs, public organizations, public organizations, public firms, public companies, and so on and so forth. Then when we talk of administration, administration is applicable to both public and private. So this means that administration has two phases. The first phase of administration is what refers to as private. And the second phase of administration is what we refer to as public. Now, public in the sense, administration in sense of private simply means that when we talk about our household affairs or lifestyle, it is private. And then there's levels of management that we put into play. Then when we talk about a firm or company owned by a private body, for instance, sole proprietorship business, it is private. Then there's levels of administration that also play in. Then when we talk about private school, private business centers, this involve or in this business or school or institution, they make use of administration. So administration can be discussed in the angle of private. Then administration can also be argued in the sense of public. When we talk about University of Abuja, is public university because it belongs to federal government of Nigeria. Then when we talk of Unity School, it is public. People from different backgrounds, different communities, different regions can come and enroll. Then when we talk about electricity, when we talk about water supply board, when we talk about that is water corporation. When we talk about when we talk about um, when we talk about the system of government at local government is public. When we talk about the system of government or administration at state level, it is public. When we talk about the system of administration at federal level or national level, it is public. So it is public because it belongs to everybody. It is general. That is what we refer to as public. So administration could be discussed in the sense of private. Then we can also discuss administration in the sense of public, or argue that administration could be private or public. That establish our argument under public. Let us look at definitions of public administration put forward by different scholars. Generally, the school of thought have argued that public administration could be a art or science of managing government affairs, law enforcing, or fulfilling public policy or programs. This is the general sense of what we call public administration, because everything that has to do with public, it means that it has to relate to government affairs. And everything that relates to government affairs, it belongs to the people of that community, or that ward, or that constituency, or that local government, or the state, or the nation at large, Nigeria, for instance. So, and the process of enforcing laws and fulfilling public policies or programs, it is the art of public administration, because people that enforce this law and fulfill government programs and policy are civil servants and public servants. Therefore, it is a public administration. Then, according to Woodrow Wilson in 1887, say public administration is a detailed, systematic execution of public law. Yes, public law. That is, to every country, there are laws, there are principles, there are don'ts and does, that there are laid down rules that the people must obey or live by. So what Woodrow is saying is that the process of making this thing work, people respecting the law and people that make law respectively, obeyed. In our society today, particularly in Nigeria, we have the police, and that's why the police is under the executive arm of government. So police is under executive arm of government, helping the presidency to enforce the law, to make sure that people live by the law or people obey the rules and regulation. Very simple, like two fighters. It's the duty of police to make sure that they resolve conflict between two fighters, to make sure that there is peace and harmony in the community, in the state, in the country at large, and so on and so forth. That is what Widow is saying. Another definition put forward by Gillick in 1937 is that public administration is that part of the science of administration which has to do with government, and thus concern itself primarily with the executive branch where the work of the government is done. You see now, So public administration is under executive arm of government. Now, to argue this is that when we look at the civil servants, that is civil service, and this civil service commission, they are there to implement government policy. And these policies are formulated by the executive arm of government. So both the president and the civil servant are under executive arm of government. Not only that, including the public servant are under executive arm of government because they co-adjust their efforts in order to be sure that government policies are implemented. Now, according to Wado 1955, it says that public administration is the art and science of management as applied to the affairs of the state. You see now, no state can survive without public servants. No state can survive without civil servants. So, because these are the two children of the states. Yes, public servant and civil servant are the children of the state or government. So what Wado is saying is that public administration could be discussed in the area of art because art is involved. Public administration can also be discussed in the area of science, but both art and science of public administration is applicable to the affairs of the state. That is how the state is managed, how the state formulates policies and programs, how the state also runs its government, then how the state and government legislates over the people they claim to legislate over, then how the state also make life bearable, enjoyable to our citizenry or citizens. That is what Wade is saying in 1985, saying that it is a face of the arts and also a face of the science, but which is applicable to the affairs of the state. So anything that has to do with public, it means that it belongs to the state or government. However, state and government are used interchangeably because when you say state, this thing belongs to state, it means that it belongs to everybody. Then when we say that this thing belongs to government, it simply means that it belongs to everybody. That is both the ruler and the gov, or both the political leaders and the citizens that vote them into power. That is what we are saying about public administration. So whenever you heard the word or the phrase public administration, it means that it is general. And that's why African adage will say that any dog that belongs to everybody will surely sleep outside. So it means that and that's why we have bad civil servants. So some of our brothers and sisters who work as a civil servant, most of the time, they coined what belongs to everybody for their private use, which is very bad. That's why we have the series of cases of corruption, squandering, embezzlement, and so on and so forth. So we want to look at the characteristics of public administration. That is, those properties that are very germane to public administration. The primacy ends or objective. When we talk of primacy means very sequential. That is very important. So, and to every public administration, there is what we call ends or objectives. So every government that come to play in every political environment or at every administration always come to power with aims or objectives. So the same thing also applicable to the system of government at local government, at state level, and at national level or at federal level. So public administration have objective. They have what they are working towards for. They have what they want to attain. And that's why during campaign, when politicians are campaigning, there's what we refer to as political manifesto or party manifesto. That is, I will do this. So that will also serve as objective. That is what they want. So every public administration by its administrators always have what we call objectives. That is what they want to achieve. The same are also applicable to private industry, private companies, and so on and so forth. Then the second thing is policy and policy formulation. That so when it is the duty of public administration to formulate policy. Another word for policy is what we refers to as program. So policy is synonymous to program. And when we talk of program, that is what we identify as goals. That is, then this formulation of policy and implementation is done by the civil servants that work for the government or that work for the state. So it is, but it is the duty of public administrators to have goals, that this is what we want to achieve. That is what we mean by goal. There is a difference between goals and objectives. They are not the same. Goal means the end target, what the administrator is out to gain, what is out to achieve, what is out to meet. That is good. Maybe to students, the goal of every student is to, maybe in the each semester exam, is to have 0.5 of or at the end of the day to come up with first class. So that is good of every student. So to every industry, firm, public sectors, private sectors, they always have a good that they work towards for. Then another characteristic is what refers to as integrated role of administration. When we talk of administration is not as easy as the word itself appears to, because it is easy to say administration, administrator, administrative, but well, when we talk about administration, the tasks involved in administrative work or exercise is very taxing. It's very taxing. It's not easy. So it is the duty of public administrators, both in public sectors and private sectors, to make sure that they enhance and harness their role, because in every department or in every office or organization, there are various offices or various departments. Now, these various departments or various offices perform what we call complementary role. So the same is applicable to government sectors and private sectors. That's what we call admin office, maybe in school admin block. That's what we call bursary department or accounting department. So at the end of the day, the essence of these various departments or these various offices is to achieve one thing, which points to the goal of the organization or the goal of the public administrator, or what the public administrator stand out to achieve or to get or to attain at the end of the day. The intrusion of economic values, it is very important. The essence of human existence is for economic value, is for economic purpose, is for survival. Survival in the sense that, and economic in the sense that, what to eat, where to sleep, what to drink, what to put on, then what to become, and all this. So to every institution or public sector or private sector also, there is this sense of economism in them. And that's why I said that administration was originally concerned in the main with political values and objectives. So, and that's why to private sector, the essence of their existence is to make profits. Then to some, and that's why even in public sector, like public corporation also make profits, but the parameter by which they charge their customer for service, for their services or the service they render, is low to what private sectors will charge if such is committed to private person. So that is different between public sector and private sector. So public sector also make money because right from inception of NEPA, then when we used to before the privatization of electricity, NEPA used to come round every month to collect bills, to collect their money, and at times failure to pay, they disconnect such house or such people. So it means that so economic value is attached to public corporation. Economic value is attached to private corporation. Economic value is attached to public administration. So economic money is very sequential, very important when we talk of administration, because so every programs that government want to execute, there's need for money. So government cannot execute any program without money. So the same thing applicable to private firm, like Tclassified that we are working for. Tclassified cannot survive, cannot implement any program without without money. So money must be made available to cater to for the daily running of the firm. This today, buying of fuel or diesel, buying if water is needed, if this is needed, and the rest. Then maybe monthly maintenance and so on and so forth. So money is needed. Then payment of staff or workers and so on and so forth. So economic value is very essential when we talk of public affairs and private affairs. Even to individualism too, money is very important. So let us quickly look at the scope of public administration. When we talk about scope, we mean the length that public administration covers. Yes, that is the space, or how wide or how big, small public administration is. So when we talk about the scope, one of the scope of public administration is protection. So the essence of public administration is to protect the lives and property of every member of that country. Yes, and that's why we have the police, we have the army, we have the fire protection board, then we also have the healthcare services. In our community, we have what we call primary health center. So it's to make sure that people don't just die like fowl. Are you getting it? So to prolong the life of people, you have health center. So protection is germane to public administrations. So it's a major concern of public administration. That's why in this COVID-19 area, you can see the work that our doctors are doing all over the world, because all over the world, there is a sense of public administration. So when you go to America, there is public administration. When you go to India, there is public administration. When you go to Congo, there is public administration. Any country, even Bagalanga, there is public administration. Even to Cuba, there is public administration. So then the second is promotion of services. Yes, when we talk of services, to make life bearable, enjoyable for citizens. Life would have become so tough if we are in Paleolithic era. When we talk about Paleolithic era was a primitive era or society that our parents live, where they will have to trek from Gwagwalada to Kwali to go and buy a particular commodity or consignment. I remember many a times my grandfather would tell me that he trekked from Ekiti to Ibadan to go and trade, because that was Paleolithic era, primitive society. But now that we now have government, we have a sense of public administration that now cater for all this. That's why then there was not like electricity. That's what they call this light that you have to make from kernel leaf. After draining out the oil, then the shaft, you use it for light. That's what they do. But today we have electricity. The government make provision for electricity. Then far back in those days, people go to stream, river to go and fetch drinking water. But today we have tap water, we have borehole water, and so on and so forth, bottled water, sachet water, provision of services. Then education, banking, all banking service, and so on and so forth. This cover what we refer to as promotion of service or provision of social amenities or provision of services. Then regulation. Regulation, when we talk about regulation, we mean standard rule that guide people. And that's why the first sense of regulation that countries of the world have is what we refer to as legislature or legislative or the National Assembly in Nigeria. So we have the National Assembly in Nigeria that makes rule, that makes law, that makes principles, that guide the conduct of everybody that live within the country or that live within Nigeria per se. So then we also have subordinate institutions that also make law for the betterment of the citizenry, that also make life bearable for the citizen, like SON. The abbreviation is SON, which stands for Standard Organization of Nigeria. The essence of this institution or organization is to make sure that whatever Nigerians buy, it's what the value of the money that they are giving it out. So it means that Nigerians are not expected to buy less value products, particularly products, locally made products and imported products. They ought to be of standard. That is the essence of this subordinate institution in Nigeria. So because of our time, I will try to round up here. Then before I leave, let me quickly give us this assignment to do. Write short notes on the history of public administration. Write short notes on the history of public administration. Please, it should not be less than 70 English words, please. So that is for all for today. So if you are watching this video, please continue to subscribe and continue to like us on our YouTube and other channels. God bless you.